Hello, hello, hello. This is Attorney Mike Gravelin coming to you from Chicago as usual. And oh boy, do I have a barn burner for you here today. We're talking family farm time. And before we even get there, I've got a short but really fun sort of intro clip from Kristen in Traverse City. The Yolo stuff comes from my anonymous source. Thank you. It's beautiful. Let's do it, shall we?
Investigators report. How you doing today?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What kind of purse you got?
Just like a little,
It's sort of a purse and backpack, right?
yeah.
Okay. What's the, do you know the company who made that?
Don't like company.
Is it one of those really, really, really expensive purses?
No, like a click.
No? Are you into shoes, purses, or clothing? Or none of the above? Well, let me limit it. Shoes or purses? What do you prefer? My wife likes them all. She likes shoes, she likes purses, likes clothing. Okay. So how are things going?
All right, welcome back. We're on the record again in case 23-4024FY. Mr. Connolly, did you have an opportunity to speak with Mr. Hopkins?
I did. Mr. Hopkins understands that he has the right to dispute his failure to appear for the show cause hearing. But however, I did ask him what was going on. He said he did not get a notice.
Have you ever had a failure to appear?
Possibly. He's been in and out of medical treatment over the past month. He does have a doctor's appointment today at 4 o'clock with Munson in Traverse City. So I guess what I would ask, Your Honor, and he said he didn't find out he missed the hearing until his fiance told him, or his ex-fiance, I'm sorry, told him that he had missed it. So what I'm asking you to consider is, because of his medical issues, that you reschedule the show cause hearing and allow him to attend this appointment at 4 o'clock this afternoon at Munson Medical. I've explained to him that, when you miss court hearings, eventually you just end up sitting in the jail. So I'm just asking that you give him one more opportunity to reschedule that show cause so that he can attend to his medical issues. And if he misses another court hearing, he knows that there won't be any point in asking for another bond.
Okay. Well,
Don't worry, the defendant feels the need to start talking.
in addition to missing the show cause, it looks like maybe you're missing some of your testing requirements, which is a completely, that's related to the show cause. But,
yeah, I do understand I have missed them, and I was telling him, and it's no excuse. I have been being so sick lately that I can't even leave the bathroom area it was the last 12 days, 3 days ago, then 12 days prior to that. I mean, I literally been where I have seize out and then I diarrhea.
Can we do this today, Your Honor? My health is in jeopardy right now.
what's up?
I have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and what's been going on is
Very stressful.
I'm bleeding inside, ma'am.
And it's really bad. It's called and I think we might have found the answer to it, like ACH or some kind of medical problem like that, which I'm supposed to be getting tested for today.
Mr. Hopkins, and I appreciate that, and I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling well.
Yes.
But just looking back over this, I mean, we've had multiple instances where we actually have to pick you up and bring you to the jail so that we can see you in court. So for that, right now, what I'm going to do is remand you pending the the show cause hearing. Do we have a date that we could?
Judge Stepka's next date is November 1st.
Okay.
Oh,
And
ma'am,
in
ma'am, I'm literally having seizures and stuff. I hate to say
Mr.
it. but
Hopkins,
today is a very important day
it's
for
not your turn to talk. Please
Yes,
stop.
Your Honor.
Okay, that'd be a no.
My,
All right, so we'll get this scheduled for November 1st and send over a notice to the jail so that you are aware of that. And in the meantime, we'll try to get this back on track for our next step related to our examination that needs to be scheduled. So if you would like to let the, oh, yes, Mr. Connolly.
Just one question. I don't know if this is possible, but given the severity of his medical condition, if the jail is willing to take him to his appointment, would that be permissible? And I'm not saying they have to, but I don't know how bad, if this is as bad as it sounds, or might be willing to have him transported to have this diagnosed, because if he's seizing out in the jail and passing out on the floor, I'm going to guess they want him to be evaluated. So if that's the, and again, I'm not asking that they be ordered to do so, but if the jail staff deems it appropriate and they wish to transport him, would that be an option?
Well, I haven't heard anything about this situation, so I'm going to mute you for just a moment, or mute myself rather, and make a quick phone call.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
You don't hear it, but apparently that phone call resulted in, yeah, he's absolutely full of it.
All right. Thank you for your patience. Mr. Connolly, I'm not a physician. I just, based on the brief phone call I had, I would say that the information was erroneous, and I'm going to stick with what I said. So, sir, you're remanded. Please follow all the terms and conditions of the jail. No
Erroneous.
antics.
what do you
Please.
mean erroneous? By erroneous.
Erroneous. What are you talking about, Judge? I will say good day.
So,
Sir, you just need to listen to the magistrate at this point, sir.
I understand, but this is not erroneous. Last time I was in this jail, I had a seizure, a grand mal seizure, and nobody did anything for me in here. I'm having seizures where I'm literally waking up and I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm falling apart, and my son's out there, and he needs a father, and I'm falling apart. I have an opportunity to get better right now. This is not a joke.
Mr. Hopkins,
Very sick.
Mr. Hopkins, that is not the information I received, and we're
What do you
done
mean?
now.
Who
We're
are you
done.
receiving this information from? This is important.
You need to knock on the door and let the officer know that you're all set, and we'll send some paperwork over to you.
Mr. Hopkins, can you knock on the door, please?
Boy, I'm just getting railroaded here.
Okay. Now for the main event. Buckle
All
up,
right.
people.
So I did read the submitted document from respondent. Is your witness available?
So our witness, we've been informed, is waiting in the Zoom room.
Okay, so the witness is going to appear on Zoom. All right. Thank you. Mr. Jeffrey Harden is here on Zoom, and Miss Amanda Shaw is present in court. Mr. Michael Clark is here in court, and Miss Rosario Amazola is present in court. I'd like
We got dueling Sims here. I think they're both buttoned to the top with the beards.
all four of you to stand. If you can't stand, you can sit. And all of you raise your hand. The clerk is going to swear all of you in.
It sure is.
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give in the cause before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. So, Mr. Harden, you're muted. What is your answer to the clerk's question?
I do.
Very well. Thank you. All four potential witnesses have been sworn. I have read the papers submitted by both parties, both counsel, and I'm going to forego any opening statement unless you have a burning desire to tell me something in opening.
See, I'm going to use Miss Fowler's word. She now is in a throuple. And not only does she choose to be in a throuple, and she's shacked up in the bed with the throuple. Now, if anybody thinks this is okay, I am in the wrong world.
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Hyatt?
No, Your Honor.
So let's get right to it. Let me explain something to counsel and the parties. I'm sure counsel are well aware of this. The court in this proceeding is dealing with only one subject, and that is whether or not a civil harassment restraining order should be issued in favor of Ms. Shaw and against Mr. Clark. I'm not dealing with any other issues. I'm not dealing with any disputes regarding the lease. I'm not dealing with any current or potential civil actions by either party. I have a very limited scope in this hearing. So with that understanding, we'll proceed. Mr. Hafiz, you're the representative of the petitioner. You can present first, and you can present your first witness.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. If I want to go ahead and put Amanda on testimony, we could just do it right here, where we're seated, or
it's probably, it's fine with me. That way, Mr. Harden can see what's going on. By the way, do you want to exclude witnesses, or do either of you care?
no exclusions from
All right.
us, Your Honor.
The witnesses may remain during the hearing. Let me also inform counsel and the witnesses, get right to the heart of it. I don't need to hear everything in the world that's been going on with the parties. I just need to focus on the allegations that Mr. Clark has been harassing Ms. Shaw. So that's what we need to focus on, okay? So your first witness will be Ms. Shaw, and she can testify from where she's sitting.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, so
But do use the mics.
oh, okay, are the microphones?
They're all on.
Okay, fantastic. So all right. Yeah, Amanda, this is your chance to share why we're seeking why you are seeking a harassment restraining order. Go ahead and share.
Get close to the mic.
Oh, do tell.
I started a nonprofit organization, and Michael Clark posed as a philanthropist that cared about our community. And a couple months after signing our lease, he began sexually harassing me, asking me for blowjobs, sexual favors in exchange for $2,000 to make repairs on his house. I'm a veteran with PTSD, and I believe he used my disability to his advantage because he is a sexual predator. He's on felony parole probation.
Let me mention both of you. I don't need you to tell me conclusions or opinions. Just tell me what happened.
So the sexual harassment started from March 2020 to October 26, 2020. And he found out I was pregnant and wanted me out immediately, and began retaliating even further. And from 5 months after that, I got my first 3-day quit notice accusing me of forgery and slandering my name. And then he sent people out on his behalf to scare me and intimidate me and my family. He sent his nurse out multiple times, banging on the door, screaming at me, telling me to get out of the house. And we had a 5-year lease agreement, and I built a farm there. And he's, for the next a year, he's continued to try to evict me, and he finally was able to take me to eviction court, and I agreed to be out in 18 days. I was 7 months pregnant, and I had to sell my entire farm that I built over the last 4 years. I had to get rid of all my animals, and all the belongings.
What did he do to your claim of
I
harassment?
think it's overpaying.
He sexually harassed me. He sent me text.
That's a conclusion. Tell me the facts.
He sent me text messages. He showed up unexpectedly all the time. He honked until I would go outside. When I would deny him his phone calls, he messaged me that he was angry now because I was ignoring him. He excessively called me. He had people stalking me, taking video pictures of me. At all hours of the night, people showed up, and it terrified me, banging on the doors. Like, I'm shaking right now. I'm terrified of these people.
Well, who are these people who you say showed up banging on your door?
Mikey pays people. He's very wealthy. He's a Yodeling tribal member.
One moment.
He pays people.
One moment.
Okay. Just, I think there might be a little confusion. The guy she's making all these accusations against is sitting at the table. He's in the same frame as her. He's sitting on the table across from her. The guy bottom right is her big simp savior.
How do you know these people were sent by the respondent?
Because when I would get a phone call whenever Frank would show up, Frank was an employee of his. Frank would show up, and he would call me because he'd be noticing me looking out the window, and he noticed a male silhouette from over 100 feet away in the house, and he mentioned that. And he was keeping tabs on me for Mikey. Frank Bullock.
Okay. Is Frank Bullock going to be here today?
No.
So is Frank Bullock a person who banged on your door?
No, he wasn't a person that banged on my door, but he showed up unexpectedly and knocked multiple times.
Well, people show up unexpectedly, but you say Frank worked for Mr. Clark.
Correct.
And so what did Frank do that you believe?
Well, Frank did come out.
Let me finish the question. What did Frank do that you believe Mr. Clark instigated him to do?
To come out and check on the property multiple times at random hours without giving us a notice, to keep tabs on me specifically, to find out if any males were living in the house.
Are you saying that Frank asked you if any males were living in the house?
Multiple times, yeah.
Okay. But wasn't Mr. Clark your landlord?
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Hafiz. Keep going.
Thank you, Your Honor. What are some of the, I know part of the sex harassment you're mentioning involves things that were said to you. Can you share explicitly to the court? What are some of the examples?
He demanded blowjobs. He said it wouldn't just be all of that. It would be other things too. I have multiple text messages of him saying 2,000, 2K for you on top of me. He was just trying to solicit me. Every phone call, he would talk about my booty, or when he can get some of my booty. He had people come with him out there to the property in his own vehicle. And as I'm walking away, he starts whistling at me and saying, when can I get that booty? And I just shake my head like that and go in the house. For a whole year, it was nonstop sexual harassment, and I have text messages to prove it.
Did you ever report this to the police?
I did, and they said it's a landlord-tenant issue every single time.
Okay.
Multiple times.
A landlord-tenant issue about his sexual comments?
They did not take it seriously, or I don't know why there was never an investigation, but I called multiple times, panicking because I was freaking out.
Okay.
Amanda, did I hear correctly that you felt like you were being followed, watched?
Correct.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I would just be doing my normal things and all of a sudden there'd be people outside walking around the property. Somebody would call me and I'd have to go outside, like either Frank would call me and I'd go outside and meet him, or Mikey would call me, and if I didn't answer, he'd go out and he'd honk until I went outside. And there was one occasion that Jeffrey went outside because he noticed somebody was recording on the, like, towards our house. And the lady said she was just looking at the windows because they reminded her of her house. And I go outside and I look at the windows and it's just dual pane windows. So I don't understand why there's people taking video.
Well, how do you connect that person with the respondent?
Because of everything he was doing to me.
Is that it? That's how you connected him to the woman remarking about your windows?
I don't understand why these people were coming out and at all. There was a gate that was locked. We have a specific code. And if anybody came in, it was because he was giving it to them and letting them in.
So there's no way to get access to your property unless you have the code.
Correct.
Okay.
Were there ever any actions, further actions you want to share about that gate?
Yes, he sent Rosa and Frank to come remove the gate. And it terrified me because that was not what was agreed upon. They were going to come in the house to do an inspection. And then they said, oh, you're sick. It's fine. We're just going to take the gate off. And then we're like, no, you guys need to leave. This is weird. We don't feel comfortable with them removing the gate when we have livestock and children and a canal right outside the gate.
Can you kind of illustrate for the court what's the timeline at this standpoint? So you've shared a lot with the court. There's the messaging. When was that? And when did this gate incident happen?
The gate incident happened in 2022. Mikey had sent Frank and Rosa out to do a house inspection, and they had a cop escort them on to do it.
Are there other
about her IBS?
Other messages? Other messages that you can think of to share?
Yeah, he asked me to get blacked out drunk with him, and that really scared me because he asked me multiple times to go to a hotel and get blacked out drunk with him. In a text message, it says he wanted to get blacked out drunk, but not for sex or anything. I just, this guy needs to be stopped because
there's
he's
no question
continuing.
pending.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else, Your Honor.
When we moved out, the nurse
Wait,
did.
there's no question. Hold on.
I know you mentioned Frank. Were there others that were approaching the house or?
Yeah, Gio came and he was looking through the windows a couple times.
Who's Gio?
One of Mike's friends that he paid to do whatever he wanted him to do all the time. Came and banged on the door. I opened the door. He asked for the code to the gate to get in because Mikey was with him. And then I go sit back down at the table with my kids and he's knocking again. And when I go look, he's looking through the bedroom door and the side window. And I opened the door again. He was like trying to catch a man in the house is what I'm assuming.
I need to understand. So this Gio knocked on your door.
Yeah.
Asking you for the code to the gate?
Yes. Because Mikey had forgotten this.
How did he get to your door?
Because he squeezed through the side of the gate.
Okay. It's a great gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did, if I recall, more than one person basically told you to get out or to leave. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, Rosa came to our house and on multiple occasions, and she wanted us to get out of the house. The first time she came, she insulted me and she said, if I were you and if this happened to me, I'd have more dignity for myself and I'd move out of here. And self-integrity for herself. And she'd move out. And then I had asked her to leave. She came back multiple times after that. One time she knocked on the front door, the side door. She was trying to get a hold of me to make amends. And Jeffrey went out there and said, the cops said to call us if you guys come back and bother us. And he asked, why are you here? And she said, because I just want to make things right.
Is this something that you personally saw or heard?
Yeah, no, Jeffrey, you're gonna have to ask Jeffrey that.
Exactly. What we call hearsay.
Was there anything that you want to share about when Rosa approached you?
She just was asking when I'm gonna be out of the house, when I'm gonna get out, over and over again until finally she insulted me and I asked her to leave.
How did she insult you?
She said, if I were you, I'd have more dignity and self-respect for myself and I'd move out of here.
Okay.
Were you ever fearful in these interactions?
Yes, because before he started sending his nurse out, he threatened that his family member would drive by and shoot. He said not to get on his bad side because his friends are known up to blow up cars.
Okay, let's explore that. Did he say this to you?
Yes, he did.
Orally or in a writing?
No, on the phone.
On the phone?
On the phone.
Tell me the exact words he used.
He said not to get on his bad side because his friends are known to blow up cars. And then he said, don't ever go against me because you'll never win. That was in person one time. And I said, why? He said, because he has money.
Okay.
And then the drive-by shooting was...
What did he say about the drive-by shooting?
He said that his uncle and his family didn't want me there and that they're jealous of me being there and that they might drive by and shoot to not sleep by the roadside windows. And I was playing musical beds for a long time because I was afraid of them knowing where I sleep and stuff.
Okay. You're pretty much done, Mr. Hafiz. Yeah.
Anything else that you want to add?
I do want to say whenever we finally moved out, the nurse demanded the cops to know where I lived and where we were going. And the cops have a body cam, so I don't know if we can request that, but that really scared me because why would he want to continue to know where I live after moving off his property that he just terrorized me on? And now they're further lying against me and accusing me of things. And it's just further harassing me. And I just want it to be over with. I don't want them to continue to try to harm me, my reputation, my nonprofit organization's purpose.
This will be my last question, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
For you, Amanda. Do you feel like Michael's retaliating against you?
Yes, I reported this to the Department of Fair Housing and Employment. And I told his employee that I would report this if he didn't back up and leave me alone. And that's whenever the last message I got from him was accusing my boyfriend and wishing I have the baby on October 26, 2020. I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
And I apologize. This is actually the last question, Your Honor. I apologize. Did he ever make any remarks implicating Jeff or targeting
Oh,
Jeff?
yeah. The last text message that he sent me said he would have Jeff taken care of.
Okay.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Ms. Shaw, you said
Get close to the mic, please.
Ms. Shaw, you said that the last text message you received from Michael Clark was in 2020, correct?
Correct.
And this threat of the drive-by shooting, when did that occur?
It happened in the same month of October 2020.
So that was 3 years ago, correct?
Yes, it was 3 years ago, but he's
So
still been harassing me ever since.
After a threat of a drive-by shooting, you continued to live in the house for over 3 years?
Because I had a 5-year first option to buy a lease agreement, a farm lease and farm animals, and I built a farm there and I couldn't just get up and leave.
So you weren't really afraid for your life?
She built a farm, whatever that means.
Then, correct?
I was afraid for my life, so much so that Jeffrey went and got a rifle to protect us because we were so afraid because the cops weren't doing anything.
And you had a child in the house, correct?
Yes, I did. I had children.
And you kept your children in the house despite the fact that you thought there's going to be a drive-by shooting at the house?
This lady is so freaking evil. I'm
Ma'am.
shaking right now.
Ma'am, please do not make such comments. She is entitled to cross-examine you in this proceeding. She's entitled to ask you questions, and you must answer them.
I had a
But Judge, opposing counsel is mean to me.
5-year farm lease agreement, and I was permitted to be there, and I was working on finding legal help to help me defend myself against this demon.
Why didn't you move out if you were afraid for your life?
Because I had a 5-year farm lease agreement. I started a nonprofit organization there, and I established myself amongst the community there. And I didn't want to tell the whole community that this guy was sexually harassing me and demanding me for blowjobs. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I didn't know what to do. I literally started feeling suicidal and like I wanted to kill myself.
When is the last, prior to, strike that, you recently were in court for an unlawful detainer action, correct?
You're the one that did it. So yes, correct.
Stop. Listen carefully. And this goes to both parties.
Literally insulting me right now.
Ma'am, you must answer the questions. Do not talk back to the attorney. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ask your question again.
You were in court recently in September for an unlawful detainer action, correct?
Correct.
And Michael Clark was there at the courthouse for that hearing, correct?
Correct.
Prior to that hearing, when is the last time you physically saw Michael Clark?
In October of 2020.
When is the last time Michael Clark called you on the phone?
October 26, 2020. He had his friend call me, Gio, in January of 2021 or 2020, January 2020.
If the last time you had contact with or saw Michael Clark was in October of 2020, why did you wait 3 years to seek a civil restraining order?
Because you guys have accused me of things continuously. You took me to the eviction court. You accused me of forgery, and that is so significant to me because of what I'm trying to do. If nobody believes me, they're not going to support my nonprofit organization. So if I'm going to continue to allow you guys to slander me and call me squatter, all these terms that you've personally coined me on their behalf, why wouldn't I try to get a restraining order to stop it?
So these terms that you're referring to, these have all been in court documents, correct?
Correct.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Any further examination of your client?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You have another witness you wish to call?
Oh,
I
come
do have
on.
another witness. I have Jeffrey.
All right. Mr. Harden, can you hear us all right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So
We
you're gonna
really
be asked
needed
some
this
questions
before
by
that
the
closed.
attorney.
Are you a whore? I object to the relevance of that, Your Honor.
All right. What?
I'll tie it up real quick, Judge.
All right, go ahead.
You're not a whore?
So, Mr. Hafiz, go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Jeffrey, good morning to you. Thank you for being here. And yeah, like Your Honor just mentioned earlier, we're going to jump right into the details with the limited time. What would you say are some of the initial things you want to share as to why Amanda needs a protection order today?
Well, just to keep it short, there's been threats made against her and our family. Rosa has showed, hostile actions, and it's
Well,
safe around them.
let me clarify. You've got to be specific, and you've got to tell me about things that you personally saw or heard, not what others have told you. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now answer the question.
Okay. to reiterate on the text messages that Amanda received, I was there and she had, showed me. Rosa had showed up to the house and had started at the front door and then started on some windows and then ended up getting to the back door. And then finally, that's when Amanda had opened the door and there was a verbal confrontation between the two of them. Amanda was saying that she shouldn't be here. Rosa was yelling. Amanda was getting upset. And it was just like a hostile situation.
Let me go back to the text messages that you personally saw. You saw them on whose machine?
I saw them on Amanda's phone.
Okay. And to the best of your recollection, what did the text message say?
I think that was the drive-by one, if I'm remembering correctly.
Well, to the best of your recollection, what were the words?
Oh, I couldn't tell you word for word.
I don't want to.
I apologize for the background.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. It's perfectly fine. Children are children. So you don't have to tell me word for word. Just as best as you can, what did the message say regarding drive-by?
That his uncle, or not sleep by windows, and that his uncle or his family would drive by and shoot at us.
And who did this message come from?
Well, I believe it was Michael Clark, but I have no way to prove it.
Okay.
Unless there was like some kind of research done and linking that phone number to Mr. Clark.
All right, Mr. Hafiz, keep going.
Thank you, Your Honor. Jeff, did you ever feel a need to protect the family?
Seriously.
Yeah, after the threats and everything, and just knowing his situation, how he can hire people to do basically whatever he wants. There's a lot of bad people in this world, and they do bad things for minimal amounts of money. Money pretty much the root of all evil. So, yeah, I felt a deep need to protect my family, and to reiterate on what Amanda had said when I bought, she said a rifle, but it was a shotgun. I did buy a shotgun and I did buy a handgun, just as a mean of protection in case it ever came down to it. God forbid it ever had to come to that, but I would rather.
Oh, good Lord. This guy with his shirt buttoned to the top and a shotgun is not is not going to protect anything.
Have it and not need it, than need it and not have it. Yeah, it may seem kind of minimal, but even driving around now, if a car pulls up next to us, I have like a weird feeling like, are they going to be the person that they're shooting at when they drive by? At this point, I don't think anything past them.
Okay, keep going, Mr. Hafiz.
Thank you, Your Honor. Were there times that you felt that there were limitations to your ability to help or protect?
Yeah, I did feel really powerless. One, because we called the cops.
That just says it all. I felt powerless with a high voice. just give him the hook. Just give him the hook. Your cosplay of being manly is not working.
Nothing ever came from it. And to reiterate on the living situation of us being threatened and still living there, we had spent so much money when we first got to that place to clean up, to buy the tools to make repairs, and to do all the stuff that needed to be done just for that house to be livable. It had financially drained us, and we had tried to turn in receipts for him. And when it came down to getting payment, we actually only asked for half of what we had sent back, just because part of it was for our living situation, even though the repairs were made on his house. But that's another reason why we couldn't just up and leave, is because we had spent all our money and invested our money into this place and into the events that we had planned, the fundraisers, and
That's
we were planning on buying the place.
In a nutshell,
Was the idea, and so that's one of the reasons why we felt stuck there.
It's Battle of the Betas. That's what we've got here. That's what my thumbnail should have been.
Having to endure the harassment, and of course we would have loved to have our kids out of there. If we had the opportunity to get our kids out into a safer environment, that would have been the first thing we would have done. But unfortunately, due to the circumstances, we weren't in a financial position to move out immediately. One, because of all the threats that were going on. We were doing family farm days, and we couldn't morally invite all these families out with their children, knowing that, you know, something could happen. Somebody could show up, someone can do something that could cause harm to us or even someone else's family or kids.
Family farm days, everyone.
I'm sorry, I'm
Mr.
getting worked up now, but
Next question.
Oh, thank you. No, I appreciate, Jeff, I think you are helping inform the court, and I think this is really more of a follow-up question on where you left off. You mentioned that there's events, there's plans, you guys have the nonprofit. Can you spell out that further? You know, what there's like a danger, a fear, and can you say that again? What was the impact there?
Well, that's a little, wait,
Oh, I apologize.
frame a different question. That's a little muddled.
Okay. Are you able, pending your honor's perspective on this, are you able to detail how were plans disrupted or changed?
threats were made, hostility was shown, and we couldn't morally bring other people and involve them in a situation that could potentially be hostile.
Okay. And what did you specifically fear?
Just any kind of retaliation, random people.
You got muted there. Last words we heard were random people.
Sorry, I had a phone call come in. I had to ignore it. Just the possibility of someone on Mr. Clark's payroll coming out and either doing, anything that had anything to do with violence. I don't know exactly how to word it, but
I get it. Thank you. You have any other questions?
Almost done, Your Honor. Jeff, are you able to personally speak to observing stalking behavior, or it was mentioned something about a gate? Are you able to personally speak to observing or knowing anything about that?
Well, I was present when I guess Frank was there, because obviously he was looking through the window and can see me through the window, and then followed to report that to Mr. Clark. They've hopped through the gate, and since you can open the gate box and you just push the open button and open the gate, they've opened the gate before. There's been times where I've been there and then all of a sudden someone opens the gate and just comes in and would be going into the warehouse, walking around the property.
Are you saying there's no code? There's just a button you push that says open?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but no, there is a code that's on the outside of the gate, but there's a concrete wall, and that in between the wall and the gate, there's a little gap enough to where you can step over the railing and get through the gate. And then the gate box, the gate motor box that has the circuit board in there, if you pull the cover off of that, you can just push the button and it would open.
Okay.
Any last thoughts, Jeff?
Is that a question?
Yeah, it is a question. I heard a question mark. Pretty broad, so we need to know.
Okay.
One last thing I'd like to go over is when we were moving out, Rosa was demanding to get our new address, and so I don't know why she would want our new address, but
I
I think it's
already
kind of
got
weird.
that. I already got that.
Okay. Sorry, Your Honor.
No problem.
Jeff, thank you. No further questions from me at this time.
Any cross-examination?
Yes. Jeff, you mentioned family farm days. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
How many family farm days did you hold on the property?
We did 1 or 2.
I'll take
And
this as
when
a
did
1.
these occur?
I couldn't give you the exact date. I can't recall.
What year did they occur?
I'd have to go back through the pictures that we took for the event to find out exactly.
Okay, were these family farm days in 2020?
I just told you I'd have to go back and look at the pictures to tell you the date.
Is all this part of some sham so that they can claim that this farm is nonprofit? Is that what she was yammering about? I need to know.
Okay, do you recall these family farm days happening within, say, 6 months of the time you moved into the property?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Because the property was in utter disrepair when we moved in, and it took us over a year to get everything
Okay, so these family,
pretty much.
is it fair to say these family farm days occurred in 2021?
Like I said, I don't know the exact date, so you keep trying to put a date on it, and I don't know.
I'm just trying to get your best recollection. I'm entitled to that. So if it took over a year to get the property ready, if you had any family farm days, it would have been after October of 2020, correct?
I can't tell you 100% for sure.
You don't have to tell us 100% for sure. Your best estimate, I don't want you to guess or speculate, but your best estimate is sufficient.
Well, any kind of date that I give you, I would be guessing at this point.
Well, then don't do that.
Yes, Your Honor.
How many people showed up for these family farm days?
Oh, man, there was quite a few. Over 20.
Okay, and did these family farm days occur after the threat of, your claimed threat of a drive-by shooting?
I can't recall.
You said you stopped the family farm days because of threats of a drive-by shooting. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
So did any of the family farm days happen after October of 2020?
I can't recall. I mean, if you want me to go back and look through my pictures, I can give you a date when the family farm day was.
You mentioned purchasing firearms, correct?
Yes.
When did you purchase the shotgun? Well, let's start with the shotgun.
I wasn't prepared to have to recall exactly what date I bought it, but upon further investigation, I can find those dates.
No,
Okay, I'm assuming that's a yes. Okay.
to the best of your ability now. We're not.
I mean, he's making a horrible appearance. This guy's saying, I was so scared I went out and bought a shotgun, and it doesn't sound like he's had any experience with guns prior to that. So you would remember roughly within the year or something. Maybe not the date, but come on.
Taking a break to look up documents. So you don't have to give an exact date. You give an estimated date to the best of your recollection. If you can't give an estimated date without guessing, then don't do it.
Okay, I can't give you that information right now then.
Did you purchase the shotgun after October 26th of 2020?
I believe so.
And you said you purchased the shotgun because you feared for your personal safety, correct?
My personal safety and the safety of my family, yes.
And your fear was that Michael Clark or one of his representatives would come and do a drive-by shooting of the house, correct?
It wasn't necessarily just the drive-by shooting. It was the fact that Michael Clark has a surplus of funds to hire people to do any of the stupid stuff that he doesn't want to do himself.
What is your knowledge of Mr. Clark's financial situation?
I know he makes roughly around $60,000 a month. He's from the tribe, the Winton tribe that owns Cache Creek Indian Casino and Resort.
And how do you know this information?
Because I grew up in the valley, and I know a lot of people that know him, and I know a lot of his family.
Have you ever seen any of Mr. Clark's financial documents?
I have.
What documents have you seen?
Well, all the garbage that was left on the property while I was cleaning up all that garbage, I found some financial records that showed how much he made in the year of 2010, 2012.
Where were these documents?
They were outside at a big garbage pile.
So you went through Mr. Clark's garbage?
Yeah, I did. Picking it all up and taking it all to the dump for him. Because he wasn't going to do it. And I didn't want to look at a giant pile of garbage out in front of the house.
Okay. Did anyone ever present to you saying that they were one of Mr. Clark's representatives and threaten you in any way?
Rosa.
How did Rosa threaten you?
Let's see. I wouldn't say she threatened me specifically, more just like general threats, like you guys need to get out of here, or there's going to be like repercussions, or things are going to happen, or what have you.
Any specific physical threats?
Not that I can recall exactly at this moment. To me personally, I've only had 2 to 3 interactions with Rosa, I believe.
And when you saw these text messages threatening a drive-by shooting, where were you when that happened?
I was in the house and Amanda was upset, and I asked her what's wrong, and she would just explain to me and be like, this is the kind of shit that he's sending me.
So this was while you were living in Michael Clark's house, correct?
Yes.
This is when you saw text messages specifically from Michael Clark saying that he was going to send someone to shoot at the house, correct?
You worded it a little different. He was saying that his uncle and family would drive by and shoot, something along those lines.
Okay. And did you leave the house at any point in response to those threats?
What do you mean leave the house?
Well, if you feared for your life, did you leave the house?
What part of leave the house did you not understand? Did you leave the house? Did you go to another place?
House out of fear.
And where would we go?
Well, just answer the question, please.
No, we didn't leave the house. Well, we might have. We leave the house quite often to go to town.
Okay, are you done?
No further questions.
Okay. Do you have any further questions for this witness?
No further questions, Sean.
Thank you. So I'm going to turn to Ms. Hyatt. You may present your first witness.
Your Honor, I'm just going to ask Michael a few questions.
Sure.
So Michael, can you state your name for the record?
Pull the mic close, please.
Michael Jason Clark.
Michael, when is the last time you had any contact with Ms. Shaw prior to the court proceeding in September?
Years ago.
Was it more than 3 years ago?
More than 3.
And did you know Ms. Shaw prior to her coming to live on your property?
Yeah.
Was she one of your friends at some point?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you hang out with her on a friendly basis at some point?
That was long ago, but yeah,
Okay. And do you have any reason to threaten Ms. Shaw physically?
no,
Have you ever sent any text message saying that you were going to send a family member to shoot at her house?
no,
Are you aware of any of your family members stating they were going to drive by and shoot at her house?
no, I am not aware of that.
Did you at one time believe that you might have a romantic involvement with Ms. Shaw?
Long ago, yeah.
And
the words that she said, or
Sure. I need for you to tell me what went on.
that I'm not on that whole shit. I'm not with that whole shit.
when she started living on your property, first of all, were you aware that she came to live on your property?
No,
And what was going on in your life at the time? Why did you move off the property?
I had health issues and I was in and out of the hospital.
Okay. And had you experienced a death in the family at the time?
Yeah, my mom died.
Okay. And so you left the property, correct?
Yeah,
And how did Mrs. Shaw even gain any access to the property? If you know.
I don't remember to recollect, you know.
Did she ever offer to help you out to clean up the house?
Yeah, I think she would offer to help clean the house.
Okay. Did you ever give her permission to live in your house?
No, I did not.
Have you sent any text messages to Ms. Shaw since October of 2020?
No,
Do you know her phone number?
no, I do not.
Do you know where she lives?
No, I do not.
Have you ever gone between October 2020 and present? Have you had any contact with Ms. Shaw whatsoever?
No, I have not.
Besides the court date?
No,
Have you ever gone out to the property while she was living there? Did you ever go out to the property to try to see her?
no, I have not.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Any cross?
I do. It's perjury.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Michael, thank you for being here today. Would you say you were, well, okay, how do I say this? Did you ever communicate with Amanda about a lease?
No,
Did you ever communicate with Amanda about any kind of payments or finances?
not that I remember.
Did you ever communicate with her regarding utility bills, debts to pay, energy, things like that, or anything related to that?
Objection vague.
It's a little broad, but do your best to answer if you can.
No,
Is it your position that there never was a debt of that kind?
Objection vague.
Yeah, it is vague.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but to rephrase it, a vague.
Vague.
Okay. Does Amanda owe no such money to you?
Well, does Amanda Shaw owe you money? If you know.
no, we were gonna let that go.
So you believe she owes you money, but you're just going to let that go.
Yeah,
All right. Next question.
Were you aware she was operating a farm?
No,
Did you ever ask for $7,000 or $7K?
I'm sorry. From Ms. Shaw,
Is there an objection?
objection vague.
Can you be more specific?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Did you ever ask Amanda Shaw for $7K?
no,
Did you ever communicate with Amanda Shaw by text messages?
yeah, but not ever since the date.
Let me understand what you just said. You have communicated with Amanda Shaw by text in the past,
Yes, but not currently,
but not what? Not currently?
not currently or
So
ever since
when was the last time you communicated with her by text?
the last date that I have.
That October 26, 2020 date?
Yes,
Okay.
Did you ever tell Amanda Shaw that you did or you almost got your ass beat because of her?
no,
Michael, is it true that you are going through an ongoing probation process with the people of California?
Objection, Your Honor. This is beyond the scope, this hearing.
Well, it's not beyond the scope because credibility is always an issue. But how is this relevant to me?
Your Honor, our position is that this is very relevant to all our claims of sexual harassment, consistent pattern and practice information now documented in another instance with the people of California.
Are you saying there's another case with another party where Mr. Clark's been accused of sexual harassment?
Worse than that, Your Honor, but of a similar nature, of a sexual nature.
I don't want to deal with accusations, but if there's a conviction, then you can explore that.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, and I don't know if I should just ask the question at this point.
If you have a document, you can show me the document.
Okay.
We can mark it.
Okay. Would you like me to walk up or what's the preferred?
You mean with the document? Show it to counsel.
This is stamped August 11, 2023.
We'll mark this as petitioners one. This is a packet filed in the Yolo Superior Court, August 1 of 2023. The court can certainly take judicial notice of its own files. This is in a criminal case, People versus Michael Jason Clark. Okay, I've reviewed the document. We can return it. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The court will take judicial notice.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Well, and I'll defer to Your Honor's preference at the standpoint.
Yeah, you don't need to get into the details of it. I've looked at it.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything further in terms of questions to your client?
I don't have any further questions. If I
Okay.
may address that document.
Yeah, we can address it in your closing.
Okay.
You wish to call another witness?
Yes, I'd like to call Rosie.
Okay. Why don't you, I think it's simpler if you just come up to the witness chair. Make sure you use that microphone. You've been sworn. State your name for the record again.
Rosario Amesola.
You're gonna have to speak a lot louder and clearer. We always say our names so quickly.
Okay. Rosario Amesola.
You have to enjoy your name, you know?
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
Ms. Amazola, how long have you been working with Michael Clark?
I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's been more than 6 years, I think.
Can't hear you.
6 years. I think it was like in 2018, 17, maybe longer. I really don't recall.
Okay.
She doesn't know exactly.
And what is, do you have a position with Michael Clark? What is your job?
Yes.
This guy's got quite a roster.
I started as his caregiver, and then from his caregiver, I became his personal assistant, and now I help him with his finances and everything.
Help him with his what?
First, caregiver. Have we got naughty nanny here? That's my question.
His finances and everything. So, because he can't manage his stuff by himself.
Do you have?
Yeah, she helps him with his finances. She finds she finds places to spend all the money.
Power of attorney?
Yes, I do.
Get closer to the mic.
I am his power of attorney.
And are you aware of Michael Clark's medical conditions?
Yes, I'm aware of all of them.
Okay. And does he have many medical conditions?
Yes, he has.
And are you responsible for, taking him to medical appointments?
Yes. Medical appointments, therapies, lots of things.
Okay. In and around 2020 or 2019, did Michael Clark have any major medical issues?
Yes, he does. He has had them since ever I started working with him.
Okay. Was there a time where he was hospitalized for medical issues?
He's been hospitalized quite a few times. He was hospitalized, right? That's the main reason why I started working with him, because he was hospitalized before I started working with him. He was.
And just briefly, what is your knowledge of why he was hospitalized?
He has a heart condition, liver condition. He also has a hypertonia of blood pressure. He also is disabled because he can't really, has a disabled placard because he can't walk that much because of his health.
Okay. And are you aware of any sort of mental health issues?
Yes, I am, and he's getting therapy for all that. He was diagnosed as having a mind of I think it was like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, something like that. And he is very forgetful. He doesn't remember things.
He is very what?
Forgetful. He doesn't remember things.
Are you saying that he is developmentally disabled?
He's not, I don't recall exactly when they diagnosed it with him. I don't remember what was it called, but he does forget things. And he has a mind of a child. I just don't remember what age.
Well, an 18
Oh yeah, there's a woman out there for every man who has a pile of cash.
18-year-old is a child.
No, younger than that.
17-year-old.
Wait, no, for me, a child's like a 10-year-old and down. Not a teenager. He doesn't have a mind of a teenager.
Are you aware of Mr. Clark being examined by a psychologist?
Yes, he did get examined by a psychologist.
Are you aware of that happening in connection with his criminal proceeding?
Yes.
And so did you, just to switch gears a bit, did you ever live at the subject property that we're talking about today?
In Winters?
In Winters,
No,
yes.
I never lived there.
Okay. And to your knowledge, when did Michael Clark live there?
That I know of, he lived there until his mom passed away.
Okay.
And I don't recall when his mom passed away.
Okay. Was it prior to 2020?
Yes, it was prior to 2020.
Okay. And when did you first meet Amanda Shaw?
If I'm not wrong, I met her in 2019, I think, or maybe it was even 20.
Don't whisper.
Oh, 2019. It was from, I could probably say 18, but I'm not very sure. I'm more positive on a 19 to 20.
What were the circumstances? How did you meet her?
I met her because Michael told me that he was talking to her.
Okay.
So they were having communication. She, in that time, the very first time I met her, we went to Sakura here in Woodland. He picked her up from her house.
Okay. And picked her up from her house?
Picked her up from her house and we went to eat. And that's when I met her.
Okay. And do you recall what you talked about during that conversation?
Well, we were during the car, we didn't really talk, but when we were in Sakura, I did ask her personal information. I asked her like how long she knew Michael, and she told me she knew Michael since way before.
See, I'm going to use Miss Fowler's word. She now is in a throuple. And not only does she choose to be in a throuple, and she's shacked up in the bed with the throuple. Now, if anybody thinks this is okay, I am in the wrong world.
Wondering like, you just met her, or how did you meet her? Because I didn't know about her. The other thing she said that she had kids and that she was single. What else did she? And then we were just talking about Michael. I think she asked me what was I with Michael and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't recall actually anything else.
Do you recall any, did you witness any conversations where Ms. Shaw talked about her nonprofit organization and
No,
doing
I
some
don't
farm-
recall.
Wait for the question.
Oh, sorry.
Do you recall any instances where you personally heard her talking about her nonprofit organization and or her farming?
No, I don't recall. I just do recall that when he would talk to her on the phone, well, it was in the car and the speaker.
And what did they talk about?
I remember one time specifically, he did mention to her, I guess she did like some type of soup or herb soup or I don't know what for sickness. And he told her, I don't remember if she was gonna make it for her or
Herb soup.
he asked her to make it.
Are you aware that Ms. Shaw came to live on the property in Winters?
I wasn't aware until the day that he told me to go ask when she was moving out.
Okay.
So I didn't know nothing about that until he asked me, like, he told me, hey, can you go ask Amanda? And I knew her as Flowers because when I met her, she was Amanda Flowers.
Okay. And about what time did you go down to the
That was
property?
like in the endings of 2019.
2019?
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, 2019 or in 2020.
So is it your knowledge that she started living in the house in 2019?
I'm assuming. I really don't know when she started to move in. I just know that he told me that she told Frank that she was going to move out. And I asked him, what do you mean she's going to move out? So like, yeah, she's been there in the property. Can you go see if she's going to move out or when she's going to move out? That's when I went and spoke with her.
Okay. And during that time that you went and spoke with her, did you have any type of verbal altercation with her?
When I got there, I knocked. She didn't even open the door. One of the kids opened the door. She was right behind the wall. So when I stayed at this side of the door, and when they opened the door, I asked her like, "Hey, Michael sent me to know when you're gonna move out." And then that's when she got like all a little bit hysterical. Well, I'm not moving now. I have a 5-year lease. I told her, oh, can I see the lease then? Can I have the lease if you have it? If you have a contract, can I see it? And she's all like, oh, no. It's going to go through my lawyer. I have a lawyer because she said that he was harassing her and stuff like that. That's when I told her, if I was in your situation, I would move out. I would have dignity for my own self. I never said her. I said I, and I would move out because I wouldn't want to live where somebody or work in an environmental place like that, be around people like that are harassing me. I would not feel comfortable, especially if I have kids.
And the other times that you went to the property, were you going there pursuant to your responsibilities as a property manager?
Yes.
And were you going there after there had been notice given to Ms. Shaw about your intention to access the property?
Yes, every time that I went, it was because of a notice. The only time that I did not go as a notice, it was straight to the warehouse because I was supposed to use the warehouse. So Michael told me, oh, go check it out so you could use it, so you could store stuff in there. So he lent it to me.
Okay. And to your knowledge, this lease agreement that Ms. Shaw was claiming she had with Michael Clark, did it allow her to use the warehouse?
Yes, no access to the warehouse because I was the only one that had the warehouse keys.
Okay. And to your knowledge, this lease agreement, did it cover the entire property?
No, it did not, because from what I know, from when I saw when the other lawyer showed us the paper, or no, she sent it to the res. He got the contract at the res, and that's when I took it, and I think I showed it to you. It said right there, 16 acres, a certain amount of acres, and Michael's property is more than that amount of acres.
Have you ever threatened Ms. Shaw?
No, but she.
Wait for the question to be finished.
Sorry.
Ask your question.
Have you ever threatened Ms. Shaw physically?
No, I have never.
Has Ms. Shaw ever threatened you?
Yes, and that was in recording. And she, I think you have the video, and I even said on the recording, the video that I recorded, you're being recorded. And that was when I went and took the notice. And she even said that he was harassing her or something like that, that she was gonna.
Well, this is irrelevant to me.
Okay.
Oh,
Let's move on.
sorry.
The issue is the claim of Mr. Clark.
Oh, these these two guys, both the defendant here, I guess it's the defendant, and Jeffrey. Jeffrey's all you need to know for a grown man to use that. They're just getting absolutely run over financially.
Harassing.
Okay. I have no further questions, Ron.
Any cross?
Double check, Your Honor. I may have a couple items.
Are you a whore? I object to the relevance of that, Your Honor.
All right. What?
I'll tie it up real quick, Judge.
All right, go ahead.
You're not a whore?
I do have a couple questions.
Go right ahead.
Rosa, did I hear you correct earlier that you attended several business meetings?
Business meeting, you mean like notices to the residency? Yeah, a few.
Meetings. So my question would be, did you attend meetings that included Michael and Amanda Shaw?
Objection, big.
No, that's pretty clear. Did you attend any meetings that included
like
Ms.
them,
Shaw and Mr. Clark?
just to be exact, because I'm not really understanding, like for them to be together?
Did you attend any meetings where Mr. Clark and Ms. Shaw were also present at the meeting?
Oh, yes, where they were together. Yes, yeah, one time.
The one time you went to the restaurant?
Yes.
Okay,
That
we
he
got
picked
it.
her up, if that's what you're saying, them interacting.
Okay. And then did I hear correctly that he picked Amanda up?
Yes, we picked her up.
Okay. Okay. You did already testify that at a certain point you did visit the home several times. You were able, you said, was that correct? Amanda did not open the door?
The very first time that I went, when I went and asked her, Michael sent me, he said that you're moving out, when you're gonna move out. That time, her son opened the door, one of the kids, because she was behind a wall. But her son opened the door.
And you saw all of this with your own eyes?
Yeah, I was right there in the front door when this.
Don't whisper.
Oh, I was the front door and I saw the kid open the door because I knocked.
Do you recall when was this first encounter?
That was in 2019 or 2020, in one of those 2 years.
Okay. Would you happen to recall a month by any chance, or?
No, I don't. I just know it's between those 2 years.
Okay. Was it just one child? Did I hear that correctly? Or was there more than one child, or?
I just saw the one that opened the door.
Okay. Can you help me understand? You mentioned the warehouse.
Mhm.
If I'm understanding correctly, there's a gate on the property.
I don't need to go into the warehouse issue.
Okay. Okay. I have no further questions.
By the way, the case number on the case you showed me is what?
Oh, that is, Your Honor, 22-0054.
Thank you. That's just for the clerk's notes. Any further examination of this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down. So, Ms. Hyatt, do you have any other witnesses or evidence you wish to present?
I don't have.
Okay. Mr. Hafiz, do you have any further evidence you wish to present?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. So what we're going to do is take a 5-minute break. And then when I come back, I'll give you each 5 minutes to present any closing argument you wish to present, and I'll give you a ruling.
That was, and I hate, God, I hate this. Ain't nothing but some dick pussy, dick pussy, dick pussy, dick pussy, going back and forth between texts with one another, and I never want to hear it again.
I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Do you want us to leave, Your Honor?
Say again?
Do you want us to leave the courtroom?
It's up to the bailiff. Probably not, huh?
Okay.
Well, you want 10 minutes? Okay. Yeah, I'll be right back. I just need to get my notes in order. Thank you. So, Mr. Hafiz, do you wish to present a closing argument?
I do, Your Honor.
You have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor. In closing, I believe what we have, our position, what we have before the court today is from the defense, not a denial of what happened as our position, not a denial of what happened, but a lot of admissions, either explicitly or indirectly. There's a lease, then there's not a lease. And then there's costs that are expected, but we're not going to collect on the costs. We heard that today in testimony this morning. We've heard that we don't know she lives on the property, speaking about Amanda Shaw, from more than one witness today on the defense. Yet she is operating a farm. They're demanding heavy-duty contracting farming equipment. There's a gate to enter on and off of the property. I'll try not to indulge the court too much on those matters because I want to stay close to the danger, the threat, the fears involved with the order we're seeking from you today, Your Honor. And the last item about that gate, that's one of several things that this family, Amanda Shaw, Jeffrey also testified that as a family, they were counting on these many different amenities in this home, this property, as protection for their livelihood together, for their children that they live together on the property, but also the livestock and the animals. I'll try my best to say no further about the farming and leasing, but there's a lot of inconsistencies. Rosie did confirm that when she approached and she knocked, she saw a child answer the door. And when she saw Amanda Shaw, she was hiding behind the wall. She mentioned that it's very consistent with everything that Amanda Shaw has presented today in her testimony and the testimony of Jeffrey as well, along with the vast text messages and the timeline that she's provided. And we submit that there's more than enough material to show fear, danger, an inclination of Michael and the several parties that he has hired to come on and off of the property at any given time. Several different kinds of threats, many of them involving sexual harassment, but also escalating to violent threats. We'll do a drive-by, or my uncle and family members will do a drive-by. And Jeffrey was able to testify in more detail about the impact that this had on their life, their planned farming-related operations. They couldn't bring the families on to the property the way they would have liked. And of course, this resulted in a lot of other damages, but certainly fear, threats, danger, which is the focus of today. Rosa did meet with the parties, but she was not able to testify with much detail as to timing or the contents of those meetings. But she did verify that Michael went to pick her up at her home. She said that more than once this morning. So it does confirm that Michael has been on and off of the property in one shape or fashion as another, consistent with our testimony that he has been on and off of the property, watching Amanda, stalking Amanda. He knows her whereabouts. He knows when she comes on and off of the property, and he contacts her. He sends relentless messages, demanding sexual favors. The defense's summary has been he has the mind of a 5-year-old child.
So you need to bring this to a conclusion.
Yes, Your Honor. And we submit that today we have demonstrated through the text message evidences that we have labeled as exhibits. We have that with the court file today, Exhibit B, and all of the testimony provided today that there were several threats. It escalated into improper legal proceedings into this year as part of this campaign and this retaliation. And we submit, Your Honor, that there's enough before the court today to issue a protective order for this family.
Thank you. And Ms. Hyatt, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor. What we did establish today is that the last time Michael Clark had any contact with Ms. Shaw directly was in October of 2020. Ms. Shaw admitted that herself. She also said that was the last time she got any type of text message from Michael Clark. She continued to live on the property despite claiming that she feared for her life. If she allowed her child to answer the door and she was hiding, I don't know any mother that would not run and protect their child if they really were afraid. There just is no legal cause for the court to issue a restraining order moving forward based on conduct that occurred, if it did, more than 3 years ago. And the most that they have established is her vague testimony about some text messages. The text messages they presented are screenshots, have not been authenticated, so they cannot be evidence. There has just been no evidence of a credible threat of violence moving forward. Mr. Clark has every right to pursue legal proceedings against Ms. Shaw, which he has done so through the court system, and that is all he has done.
Very well. So thank you both. Court is ready to rule. I've conducted a
she nailed it.
Hearing on the civil harassment restraining order proceeding. There is a difference in the law between the granting of a TRO in these proceedings and then the granting of a order after the hearing. The TRO is granted on the submission of papers, and the standard applied for a TRO is it's a pretty low standard, reasonable proof of harassment by respondent and great or irreparable harm which would result to the petitioner. Certainly, sufficient evidence was presented by the petitioner to grant a TRO, and the court did grant a TRO in this case. The standard is different after a hearing. This was the hearing. The standard for granting an order after a hearing is a much higher standard. It is a standard of clear and convincing evidence. That is the second highest standard applied in courts of California. The only higher standard is the criminal standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So to get a civil harassment restraining order, the petitioner has to show by clear and convincing evidence that unlawful harassment exists and that the conduct is likely to continue unless the restraining order is issued. The court cannot make that latter finding. The incidents of harassment, and there has been evidence presented of harassment and of fear, occurred more than 3 years ago. I cannot find by clear and convincing evidence that the conduct is likely to continue unless a restraining order is issued. And so the court declines to issue a civil harassment restraining order, and the TRO, by its own terms, is vacated. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Honor.
Heck, it's a double rainbow. Hey, Cal, look at that. It's a double rainbow.
Well, I told you to buckle up. You really should always buckle up when you're headed to Yolo, because you don't know what's going to happen over there. Oh, it was simptastic, wasn't it? First she was working this guy for money and free rent or whatever, and then we got simp number 2 rolls in and tries to lie for her, and then we got the new healthcare provider or whatever she called herself. What is that? Healthcare? No, she just called her I don't know, helper or something. The question was asked in there, why can he testify? Well, he's represented by an attorney. The judge and the attorney seem to think that he was competent for the purposes of testimony. Competent to testify doesn't mean that you're a genius. It just means that you understand the court proceedings and can add to them. That's I don't know. I'm making that up, but roughly speaking, that's what you're looking for. And nobody raised the issue that the guy wasn't competent. I do think he's simple, although I think his responses showed he was competent. I mean, none of it made any sense, but he made as much sense as the other people. Which isn't saying much, but I mean, he wasn't exactly out of his league here. This wasn't a battle of geniuses that we had going on here. We have I don't know how this guy got into it. Apparently he's got a piece of the local casino or whatever, so he's got some money to burn, and they're, when you're a man, you got money to burn, there'll be some women there to help you burn it. Trust me. Trust me on this issue. I think that's what we had going on here. But I think the judge made the right ruling. To the extent that they had, there was a lot of stuff that the attorney did it right. Like the screenshots that's so easily faked. You can't just do that. There's no foundation for anything. So we just had this testimony. We had this testimony, which I didn't find particularly credible, but maybe that there was some threat made 3 years ago. But this doesn't look like, this doesn't look like something that's about to repeat. Everything she said was back in 2020, something happened. I'm leery about whether or not it happened, but even if it did, it's not. It doesn't seem to rise to the level required for that thing. And I guess it was a civil harassment order they were seeking. I don't know. I don't practice law in California. I don't know, but I think the judge made the right call here. I don't. Has the guy done some inappropriate stuff? I'm certain. Does he have some other side thing? Someone in the comments mentioned that whatever, he had some other case and it was nasty. Okay, I can believe that, but they didn't produce the facts in this case to show anything. This is not an endorsement of him as a human being. He may or may not have done some other bad things, but they didn't show in this hearing anywhere close to what it sounds like they needed to under the statute. So there you have it. Good times. Thank y'all for coming out. I really appreciate it. I will see you all soon.